Hi, I'm Drew Hutchison. You're tuned to Local Bias. We come to you from the studio at Greenfield Community Television at 393 Main Street in beautiful downtown Greenfield. And my guest today is Skyler Lambert of the Lava Center. Let's talk about the Lava Center. What's going on? What is the Lava Center?
The Lava Center, which stands for Local Access to Valley Arts, is a community arts incubator here in Greenfield, 324 Main Street. And it's a wonderful place whose mission is to create opportunities in and through the arts and humanities. And I really see the Lava Center achieving this mission through a couple different methods. One is obviously through art and creative expression, where art comes to life. Another is through community. This is a community place. This is a place where people can stop in and have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, have a conversation, engage in active listening with each other, meet a neighbor. Another is social justice, and that's a huge cornerstone of the Lava Center's work. It's reflected in a lot of the humanities programming and arts programming that we do. And it's really important that we uplift the voices of people who are traditionally marginalized. And the last, I would say, is accessibility. And I think that this is something that makes Lava Center really unique here in Greenfield and Franklin County, is that our programming is either free or on a sliding scale. So we try and make art, which can sometimes not necessarily be exclusive, but...
Well, it's intimidating to people who haven't done art. In fact, I was talking to a woman today, and she's interested in doing art, but she says, I don't even know how to make draw a stick figure.
And this is what the Lava Center, offers. And actually, ironically, there is programming now called Drop In and Draw. It's every Thursday from 11:30 to 1 with Kemma Wilson, and it's really family friendly. You just stop in during regular gallery hours and have some conversation and draw. And
so there's some supplies there for people that don't necessarily have their own.
That's right.
And I'm sure the Lava Center takes donations of art supplies.
They would take donations of art supplies and, financial donations too.
Certainly.
We're nonprofit. But the point being that the Lava Center is what I would call a third place. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this term, but there's this idea of your home being your first place, work being the second place. And the third place is, where can you go as a human being to really find yourself, find parts of yourself, and find community? I have a publishing background, and in my world, this is a term that has historically been applied to places like bookstores. Where you can meet a neighbor, have a conversation, have an intellectual conversation, or just get to know someone without expectation of buying something or some other way of contributing to the capitalist society. You can just be you and exist with other people. And I really think that the Lava Center embodies this kind of philosophy because it's meant to be accessible.
I know when I walk in the Lava Center, I am always welcomed in a way that's so beautiful, regardless of who's there. It's just very accommodating to anybody that walks through the door. You don't get that everywhere.
That's what attracted me to Lava Center. I moved to Greenfield in September 2023, and within the first week of being here, I had already done a little research, but I showed up at the Lava Center, and it just felt so welcoming. I haven't always viewed myself as an artist, and I feel like since I've had this community support from other folks at the Lava Center, from other artists, that has naturally kind of come out, and I have the confidence to say that about myself now.
So I have something I say. I'm an artist and I'm a musician, and people talk to me about, well, I'm not that good. It's not. It's either you either are making art or playing music, or you're not. It has nothing to do with how good you are.
Right.
If you do it more and more, you will naturally develop techniques. As you explore, you'll widen your range of what you can do or how you perceive what you can do. But really, it's simply, are you doing it? There's no other criteria to being an artist. An artist creates art. It's not about you create art that people like. My ex-wife doesn't like 90% of my paintings. I don't get it. They're too abstract. I'm not doing it because I have this particular audience. I'm doing it because I'm an artist, and an artist creates art.
You do it for yourself
first.
And if other people appreciate that, that's wonderful.
That's wonderful, absolutely.
That's an added bonus.
That's right.
It's more about engaging yourself and creatively expressing yourself.
Right.
And I think that there's sort of this stripped away expectation.
I think we've commoditized everything. It's like if it's not earning you X amount of money, then it's not real somehow or not worthy.
Right.
And art just for its own sake is worthwhile.
Right.
And of course, artists know that, because how many of them are making a whole lot of money? Right. They're not letting that get in the way of their art. They're just doing it because it's intrinsic to who they are.
That's it.
So you moved here relatively recently.
Yes.
How did you discover Greenfield?
My partner and I wanted to move to Western Mass. And it's more affordable. We were coming from the Boston area. We did live in Michigan for a brief period, but we really were kind of looking for areas along the 91 corridor, and we just sort of didn't resonate necessarily with other areas along that corridor. My partner found a beautiful home here in Greenfield, so we actually found the house first.
Oh, nice.
And then when we moved here, it's like we've discovered step by step by step how amazing Greenfield is, and Franklin County as a whole. There's just something special that I can't really capture in words. It's just a feeling, and you have these little moments on a day-to-day level, a moment-to-moment level, some exchange you have with a person, or some little thing happens, and it just reminds you of how much of a blessing it is to live in a real community-centered place.
And I don't even know that people in Greenfield a lot of times recognize what they have.
Yes, and I've lived in many places, a lot of places that don't really have that community investment.
Right.
I've lived in a lot of places that don't have a lava center,
right,
or a place where people can feel that they can express themselves, and that is so unique.
Well, I think part of it is that there's about 18,000 people in Greenfield. So when I was, before we moved here, when I was in 1976, when I was in high school, I asked my dad, well, how many people are in Greenfield? 18,000. I visualized dirt roads, because in Florida, it's like you have your cities, and then you have out in the rural areas, it's all these dirt roads that I knew about. And then we get here, and I'm amazed at the beauty of downtown Greenfield and these gentle rolling hills.
Yes.
And then I'm thinking about Philadelphia, back when Benjamin Franklin was around, had about 20,000 people. And how much was going on then? Well, there's a lot going on here now.
Right.
I think it's something about, we're not so big that we become so cosmopolitan that we think that we're something super special. There's a lack of pretense, which I really find nice.
I think it's wonderful, and it's different than Hampshire County.
Yes.
Again, it's a feeling.
Right.
And Hampshire County's great.
Oh, it is. For education, the schools there are amazing, but that's a different flavor.
Yes, and I'm from a lower class background and working class background, and the vibe of Franklin County, the agricultural industry, and the factory industry, and etc.
Right.
That's kind of that working class is the heartbeat of this place, and it makes everything go. And I just, it makes people feel more connected.
Yes.
I think.
But the art also makes us feel more connected.
Yes.
When you see art that, oh, I know so and so. You see their art. You go to the gallery at Lava Center.
Yes.
And they have these wonderful, and it rotates all the time. But I didn't know so and so was an artist. Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, we don't even know sometimes that our neighbors are so talented. Yes. And it takes a place like Lava Center to sometimes wake us up to that fact.
Yes, and the next gallery showing actually is, the opening reception is March 8th. It's New England Dreamscapes by Sarah Adam. I don't know. I don't know Sarah either, but they're these really beautiful, ethereal, landscape portraits of the New England scenery.
Right.
And I think that's something else that's really special. It's easy to feel inspired when you live in such a naturally beautiful environment.
Yes.
And that's not something I take for granted.
Well, so I grew up in Florida, and I moved up here, and I bored all my friends with these stories about how wonderful Clearwater was. I go back to Florida, and I'm just like, I would never want to live here, because I could just walk out my back door. I could go hiking and in no time be someplace that you can never find.
Yes.
In Florida, it just wouldn't happen.
Right.
And in fact, we lived when I first moved here. We lived on Hastings Street, and so there's Rocky Mountain behind us.
I live on High Street between Hastings and Haywood.
Okay, so I would walk up. I would go to Beacon Field and walk up and go up to Poets Seat Tower, and it's just like. And then I hiked all the trails back down to the Connecticut.
Footpaths.
Oh, they're all
great.
over the place. And I also remember stepping on a rotten log that had a bunch of wasps and stuff. And I was with friends. I went to the edge of the hill, and I just went right down, and I ran home, and I didn't get stung, but everybody else did. And I'm the one that stepped on the rotten wood. So sorry. People that got stung back in 1980 or so, or 79. Anyway, enough about me. So you have, is it every month you have a different show in the gallery, or is it quarterly, or how do you do that?
It varies.
Okay.
This particular gallery by Sarah Adam runs from March 8th to April 25th.
Okay.
So almost 2 full months.
Right.
We're taking down the current exhibit, which has been a history of Lava Center, with photos and a timeline, a dedication to one of Lava's founders who passed away, Lucinda Kidder, who was really instrumental in really building Lava up from the ground up. And so Lava just celebrated its 5th anniversary, which is tremendous.
Right.
It's gone through a lot in 5 years. It survived COVID, and the programming still found a way to survive virtually.
Right.
But there's something always going on there.
And you have regular hours during the week, but they're kind of a little bit odd because you can't afford to have it open all day every day.
Right. So our cafe and gallery hours are Thursdays 11 to 2 and 5 to 8. Fridays 5 to 8, which when the weather gets a little warmer, that's also part of Greenfield Arts Walk.
Right.
And Saturdays 11 to 2.
Okay.
We're at 324 Main Street again, and I really find that there's something for everyone.
Now, what is your role there?
I'm actually part of the board of directors.
Okay.
And so it's, behind the scenes, but I also volunteer to help with, staff programming and things like that.
Well, I don't go into Lava Center all the time, but I'm there a couple times a month. And I see Lindy is almost always there. I often see Jan Mara there. Doug Selwyn sometimes is there. I mean, so there's this rotating cast of characters that I've been seeing.
I'm in that orbit now.
Okay, very cool. Well, then I'll be seeing you more often.
Yes, absolutely. And I think something else that it is important to mention is the variety of artistic programming.
Okay.
I think sometimes there's a perception that art means only visual art or,
well, you have spoken word, you have plays.
Yes.
You
film.
have film.
And humanities is also a key part of what Lava does.
And that's Matt's department. He handles the...
That's right.
Okay.
Yes. And some of the best programming, I think, has come from that humanities, which that ties into sort of that social justice aspect I was speaking about. So some key things, for example, that Lava has done humanities-wise includes this great project called Indivisible, and that documented migrant farm workers here in Franklin County, both through photographs and oral histories.
Right.
But Lava also took that and brought in some organizers, some that were farm workers.
Okay.
To have community conversations.
Because we don't know how all that works with the migrant workers. I mean, my father-in-law had a farm, and he had Jamaican workers every year that the same workers would come and work his farm for a certain amount of time, and then they would go off and they had, they just had their migratory paths. Now, now it's time to go to the apple orchards and help with the apple orchards, and now it's time to go and do this. And what a lifestyle that is.
It's really hard work.
And they get vilified by some sectors of our society.
That's right.
And yet they're doing essential work that nobody else wants to do.
That's right. And I think it's really important to recognize that in today's political climate, that we have neighbors here in Franklin County who are quite literally putting their hands in the dirt and helping, bring to market the fresh produce that we can get at the farmer's market.
Right.
Or at one of the farm stands.
Which is another great thing about Franklin County. Oh my God. You can eat great food here.
Right. That's right.
We're not a food desert, which you find in like inner cities, where's the fresh food?
Right. And I'm from rural West Virginia, which is really rugged terrain. I'm from a coal camp. And the land there can't be farmed.
Right.
It's just too mountainous and steep.
Right.
So that was a true food desert. I have seen and lived that. So we are really blessed here to have that experience. And other humanities projects that Lava has done is Echo Greenfield.
I haven't heard of that.
It stands for Exploring and Creating Histories Ourselves. So this really helped bring about some community conversations about doing your own history research, like whether that's genealogy or also researching things like the indigenous communities that inhabit Franklin County, how to do proper research, how to tell your story visually, with words, through music, and things like that. That was a huge project. But like as I said, the social justice component, I think, is really important.
And what's the reaction from the public when they go to these events? I mean, has it been mostly positive? Has anybody been like, "Oh, I don't believe this stuff"? Or
no, I don't think so. And I'll give you a good example.
Okay.
I volunteered for the Lava Film Festival last year, which is an annual film festival that invites Massachusetts filmmakers to send in their own films. Right. And they're all varying lengths and varieties. So it can range from science fiction to comedy, drama, etc. You get the idea. And I was privileged enough to watch the documentary portion of the film festival. And there was an incredible documentary featuring, it's very empowering. These teenagers, it followed black teenagers in Pittsfield who lived in a really impoverished neighborhood in Pittsfield. And a lot of the financial struggles, family struggles, violence struggles that these kids faced, and their perception of resilience, their perception of what their future might or might not hold, given their racial and ethnic identities and their class status. And after the screening, there was a really engaged conversation. But again, these are neighbors in our corner of Western Massachusetts that may be unseen. And people in the audience were crying because it was so moving. And I was moved.
Well, you're still moved.
To see kids rise from such difficult circumstances and still have hope.
Well, we can lift each other up.
And that community spirit is really what Lava is all about. We have a couple new programs this year that I think really bring that idea to life. One is called Theater of Ideas.
Okay.
It's community conversations. And tonight, actually, the executive director of the Greenfield Business Association will be at Lava Center discussing what does the future of downtown Greenfield arts and business look like, and how do we as stakeholders in that culture, how do we work together?
How do we shepherd it so that this is the actual reality that we have?
And March 21st, Nina Gross, who's a really talented musician, playwright, actor, writer, she is leading a community conversation called Taking the Pulse, which is really about healing our own hearts, our own spirits, and tending to ourselves through some form of creative interaction. And given her multi-talents, that could be music, that could be drawing, that could be writing. So it's great. And the other, I think, really important program that Lava has this year is called Story Circles. And that's every second Friday at 6 p.m. So the next is March 14th. And it's really a simple concept. People gather in a circle and they tell a story based on a prompt. So this is being creative, right? And this month is Greenfield, and it's a kind of a simple concept.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you're a lifelong Greenfield resident or you're like me, you've only been here for a year and a half. What does Greenfield mean to you, and why do you appreciate it, and why do you want to stay here, kind of thing. So this is what I really want to emphasize with this idea of the third place. Lava Center is a place to express yourself creatively and to appreciate others' creative expression.
Right.
But that community exchange, that neighborly exchange, is what makes it so special.
Absolutely.
And unique in the arts scene here in Greenfield, because we want to keep everyone included in being able to do that and tell their own story. Right. I'm from Appalachia, which is all about storytelling.
Oh, yes.
That's a staple of the culture. So that to me is such a special thing.
Well, and allowing people to have a voice where they're actually heard instead of being marginalized. Because who has the voices, the loudest people? Well, not everybody's loud.
People in power, people with wealth.
That's right.
And it's important that we take a moment and listen to each other too, and appreciate each other's different stories.
Right. We can learn from each other.
Right. No two people share the same experience or the same perception of the world.
Well, and what's interesting is you can have multiple people see the same thing happen, but then when you interview them, they all see something different.
That's right. That's right. And those two perceptions are equally important to understand. But yes, Lava Center is open and welcoming to anyone, to all community members. Some other things that we have are an open stage.
Oh, okay.
Which is
like an open mic, but it's not playing music necessarily, it's whatever you bring.
It's whatever you bring, exactly.
Right.
So that could be theater, it could be music, it could be spoken word, it could be puppetry, it could be magic.
So how often is that?
That's every third Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Okay. So one of the things that we can do here at GCTV to help you with this is that if you kind of send us reminders of, hey, this is going on next week, could you help us publicize it? We'll see what we can do.
Great.
And that may even include sometime my stopping by and just doing a quick stand-up interview, or you coming here and just doing a 5-minute, hey, we have this going on, this is so much fun.
Oh, I'd love to.
So if you're willing to come back, I would love to do this, because people need to hear about this over and over. Watching one episode of Local Bias, oh, that's lovely, dear, the Lava Center. And then 6 months from now, they're not thinking about it.
Right.
But if every few weeks or month, you or someone's coming on and saying, well, this is what's going on, this is so exciting, we build that energy.
Yes.
And then everyone gets lifted up.
Yes, and that's what Lava Center's all about, is lifting each other up.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show so much, and I'm really looking forward to helping and working with Lava Center to continue promoting the arts and culture in the Valley. It's essential. And in fact, we need food, we need shelter.
And we need each other.
We need each other. We need art, because that's part of being human.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, it's been great. Thanks a lot, Drew.
I'm just delighted that you're doing this, and it's lovely meeting you.
Likewise.
You've been tuned to Local Bias. I'm Drew Hutchison. I hope that you get down to the Lava Center and check it out. I always love going there. It's a lovely spot, wonderful people. Let's enjoy being creative and supporting each other's creativity. Thank you for joining us. Take care.